What happens when a Timu Tom Hanks has accidentally switched his duffel bags with Harry from the Wet Bandits?
Hey, you kind of look like a so-so stew.
Find out next on Trees in Space. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trees in Space, the show where we watch and review all movies of every genre, and we tell you what the critics thought, what the fans thought, and what we think. Is it worthy of an entire forest, a small grove, or just a stump to sit on? That is Nate. I am Jason. And this week, in case you missed the thumbnail, we watched the 1997 comedy Eight Heads in a Duffel Bag starring Joe Pesci.
Yeah, we did. And uh I'm glad we watched it. I don't think I've watched it within 20 years maybe. So
hmm
it was nice to go back to when comedies were comedies, it had that very like formula, if you will. Um that
ABC.
Yeah, I kind of missed it, and I didn't think about that. But you know, before I get a hold ahead of myself, Jason, I think you should probably
Hmm.
tell these folks at home what this movie was about.
I think I shall. And I was just thinking that. It's basically Tommy, who's Joe, played by Joe Pesci, is transporting eight severed heads of a recently executed rival mobster to San Diego. He's just bringing the heads. He didn't kill the people.
Yeah,
When his duffel bag is mixed up with that of a medical student, and then all hell breaks loose, and it's that typical luggage is in the wrong person's hands type movie. But this time there's heads in it.
yeah. Now it's not to go ahead and get your. I was gonna insert some kind of pun there, and I can't even get the words out because it's not even funny.
What the hell is even that?
Uh, this is a pretty interesting movie. There's, you know, the main character, the one that they're following around with the eight heads. Um,
Charlie,
he was pretty good. I don't think he was,
yes.
he, I don't, has he ever been in anything else?
I'm sure he has, but nothing we've probably seen. I mean, like I said, I think he was they wanted Tom Hanks or Steve Gutenberg, and they probably couldn't get either one of them, so they got someone that looks very similar to him.
Yeah, I mean, or even one of the dudes from Weekend at Bernie's.
Yes, because
Probably
this is
would.
a very Wicked at Bernie show, or they could have got Fred Savage or Ben Savage, one of the Savage brothers.
Yeah,
This guy's so replaceable. Christy Swanson in this, she was the vampire slayer, Buffy. I can't think of anything else she's in. George Hamilton, the father of the lady,
yeah.
heartthrob in the 70s and 80s.
I don't know how the mom and dad made that daughter. There is no way in genetics that they're producing a fully white, blonde hair, blue-eyed girl.
There's no way in genetics. That's freaking classic. I love that. There's no way in genetics. No way in the world. No way in God's green earth. No, there's no way in genetics. Yes, because he's Latino or Latin. He's definitely Latin.
He's a,
Uh,
he's oof.
Gorgeous man.
Oh
And
yeah.
um, and then Diane Carroll. Wait, Diane, not Kane. Diane. Can't remember. She's a pretty famous actress in the 80s too. She's the mom. So, and they're in Mexico, and almost immediately the heads are a problem. Almost immediately. They do an hour and a half of just the heads being found or being lost,
So
whatever.
the first sighting of a head is at 17 minutes and 30 seconds into this movie.
And the movie's about an hour and 30 minutes long. So, yes. And the Joe Pesci character who's trying to find the heads, he don't know they're missing until I don't like they go through the whole thing and
He was at the airport when he found out
was
that
he?
they're missing. Yeah. Charlie, he found out way later that he had, well, 17 minutes into the movie that he had the heads. But Joe Pesci knew before that because
That's right, because
he was on that
yes.
courtesy, the phone at the airport, broke the receiver on one, and then ripped the cord out on the other one and handed it to the woman.
Yeah, that was Joe Pesci is the best part of this movie. His character was so good. It's payphones back then, and they're tethered to the machine. And the lady's like, "Why don't you get off?" And he says, "Why don't you fuck off?" or something like that,
Yeah.
And then he finally gets off, and she's about to get on, and he just rips it out. So it's like, cute.
While we're talking about phones, what did you think of the conversation that the father was having with his mom? Like,
Oh, there's a weird emotional baggage there. There's something odd
yeah,
about them too.
like
He's always on the phone with his mama.
he's trying to convince her not to come. She's trying to tell him that she's coming no matter what. And then you meet mom and you realize there was no winning for him.
No, but mom, best character in the show. I know it said
And
Joe Pesci, but
again,
grandma was great.
if that's his mom, she's white. He's
So maybe he's
Latino.
100% white and he's just been on the beach a lot. Maybe he's just 100 just
I'm just
Donald Trumped.
saying,
Maybe he's
genetics
just
is
orange
flawed in
tan.
this movie. The casting
Just
director didn't think any of this.
no.
Like, we got this actor, we got this one. All right, cool. You're a family.
Yeah. But
Like,
yeah, why not? And we had to say it was before 9/11, but even before 9/11, airport security was not this laxed. Was not close to this lax. Maybe Mexico, I don't know. But you can get away with anything. I know it was a set. I know it was an actual airport. I know it's just to move the plot along. But give me a little bit of realism. Okay, I want realism in a movie with eight heads in a duffel bag.
well, let me ask you this question. Did you ever fly in the 90s? I never flew in the 90s.
Yes, I did.
I only knew flying after 2000.
I
So,
flew in the 90s one twice. One twice.
one twice.
One
So,
twice.
do you remember if security was a lot less?
No, I remember I didn't take out my shoes. I remember I didn't have eight heads in a duffel bag, so maybe I wasn't worried about it too
I
much.
mean, it was so clever of Tommy to take a handgun and slip it into that woman's coat because as soon as
Hmm.
you pull that out, yeah, that's gonna draw all the attention to that,
And then he just slides through.
scoots it through.
You're probably right. And that's what happened in Mexico with the dad, because the dad has two heads in his luggage when he goes to
Yep.
the thing, and he almost got away with it. They were
Yeah,
sliding it through the X-ray machine, and there's two heads right there, but they stopped it because of
a
what
hair
looks like a
dryer.
gun,
Right.
the hair dryer. Yes, but when he reaches his hand into it to pull out the bag, that's when he got caught.
Yeah, he almost got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
You're fucking brilliant, dude. Uh, we talked about this before, kind of offline, online, but the part with David Spade and his roommate, back when
Oh
Joe
my,
Pesci's trying to figure out who has his bag and how to get a
right.
hold of that person.
Um, I still stand by this. I think this is David Spade's best acting.
I would agree, and that
Uh,
was fun. That was the best part of the whole movie, them being tortured.
oh my God. And there were several times where just Joe Pesci and David Spade were just line, 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 line,
Hmm.
like rapid fire, so
Almost like it
quick
was
and just,
ad-libbed.
yeah, it was so beautiful. It was great. Like
Especially like you mentioned earlier. Okay, I got a so-so Steve, a bad Frank, Jesus
little
goes,
Joey.
no. Yeah, he goes, you got a terrible Frank? No, I have a bad Frank. I have a so-so Stewie. You didn't say that. I did say that. And
Yeah.
and David Spade's wrong. David Spade was wrong in every one of those conversations. In case you're wondering.
Oh, I couldn't
They're,
follow.
they're- yeah, it was great because I had to rewind it actually. But
I
no, but they were doing that. They did that so well together, both of them.
I'm actually really glad they were able to use that last head, but
Hmm.
I just thought about this.
What's that?
What the heck if the guy running around in the parking lot with a head,
Hmm.
where'd that head come from?
Was it the head that was in the guy's? I think it was the head in the guy's bed.
So
No,
Joe Pesci had 8 heads in his duffel bag. Dad had 2 heads, so that's 10
right,
heads.
right.
Then
How many heads did they take with him from the cadaver school? Six.
and then there was so hang on, there was 8 plus 2 is 10, plus the bald one is
Mm-hmm.
11, and then the dude guy running around the parking lot
That's
is
12.
12 heads.
That's about right. I think they had about 4 or 5 heads because
They
they
had
named
4
the
heads,
so well they had at least three.
but they also
You
had
know,
an extra one
right. So
that didn't look like
they
anybody.
did. Right. I like because hey, you might like Hugo. She looks like he looks like the Hugo I used to date back in high school. Was it Hugo? Was his name?
Yeah, and
That was
at the
great.
end, like, that's not even our head.
Yeah. That's not even our head. That's like
Will you
oh, it
shut
was
up?
you're right. It's just an ABC comedy. Luggage gets mixed up and all hell ensues. And we've seen that 100 times. But they did this one with the body
But they don't.
or eight bodies.
We don't see that now. I feel like
No.
that cadence of comedy is kind of gone, and that's why I really appreciated that you chose this movie because I didn't realize that I kind of yearned for that time, that comedic flow. Like, and plus, to me, it was original. I didn't know there were other headless besides the headless horseman, but totally different plot line.
Yeah, well, like I said before to you that I think there's another movie out there with a headless person in a bag in a penthouse, and I'll confuse these two movies, but this movie is just fine. And I think you're right. The comedy was simple. It was easy. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't racist. It wasn't making fun of women or men or minorities or Russians or anything. It was just people being people,
Yeah,
and it
and
was
like,
simple. It was funny. You could watch this on TBS.
oh, absolutely. They have to bleep a thing
Yeah,
or two out, but whatever. Um,
yeah, the F word.
and mom like freaking out all the time, like, and then at the end she finally like it's so interesting that like you have that initial shock of it, and then eventually you're just like just eight dudes' heads in the bag.
Yeah. Well, like that one guy, and you were mentioning this earlier, was that one guy loses his mind a little bit, and that's fair. David Spade's character just was cool with it, didn't care, became friends with Joe Pesci, but the other roommate literally goes crazy.
Well, yeah, because he wants to be a dermatologist.
Right.
And Joe Pesci
Yeah.
makes him chop off a dude's head from his
A
body.
couple of them.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's like, I'm just a dermatologist. Oh, and then, oh, God, it was a really cute movie.
it
I,
was.
I don't really have a problem with it. Is there anything else you would like to talk about before we go on the 5 1 stars and 1 star reviews?
um no, I think we could do that.
The first 5 star review comes from Andy S. I'm mistletoe virus. I'm saying I like this movie. The title says it all. 8 heads in a duffel bag is a lame dark comedy built around a duffel bag which contains 8 human heads and all the nonsensical things that can happen to 8 heads.
Now, Andy S, I don't believe you. Just because you say you're mistletoe virus doesn't mean that you're mistletoe virus because your account name says Andy S. And to me, that means the rest of your fucking comment is bullshit. The first 1 star or less comes from Alan G. Extremely sick movie, perfect for Joe Pesci, who is a sick person and a terrible actor. Do not watch.
How do you know he's a terrible person? I mean, right now there's a lot of things going on TikTok and social media that shows that P. Diddy is a terrible person. We know this.
I was
Or at
about to
least we keep
say,
having.
you want a terrible person? Just watch the Diddy trial.
Exactly. There's a lot of terrible people. And Joe Pesci's name has not come up the first time.
You know,
So
what if every person was lying and everybody hates Diddy?
I think it was video.
I think there is too. I was just throwing something random out.
But that's a very good, thing. We should start a podcast about talking about stuff and discuss that. So, the next 5 star review is from the most popular reviewer, Unknown. I don't know why some people saw this as a stupid comedy. I really love it. It's like a dark comedy and half screwball comedy, half dark and half screwball comedy. This the story is good, although it's not a new one. The actors are good too. They're all very funny. I highly recommend this movie, even if no one else will.
I'm right there with you, man. This is it's a feel good comedy. I mean, even though there's
Mhm.
severed heads, they sing Mr. Hitman.
Oh my God, that's one of the best parts of the movie too. That
Yeah.
was great. I forgot all about that part.
Hey. Mr. Hitman, I'm so alone. Ain't got nobody to call my own.
And
That's like the only part I remember. The next one star last comes from Steve D. Whenever JP is off screen, it becomes unwatchable.
see, this one star person is the exact opposite of your last one star person because this person is saying Joe Pesci is the only good thing in it. The other one says that Joe Pesci is a terrible actor.
Yeah.
So, obviously, two people that disagree with the movie don't have to agree with themselves, I
Hey,
suppose.
opinions are like a-holes. Everyone's got one.
And most of them stink.
Yeah.
The last 5 star review comes from Unknown. I have not laughed this hard during a movie for a while, and I watch comedies. Don't expect a fancy plot. If you're worried there's no blood or gore, this movie is about the mishaps for both the innocent side of the hitman. Oh, the innocent side and the hitman, mainly across the border. It's true meant to be comedy when a transportation goes all wrong. Okay,
Easier written than said.
thank you. And I'm not drunk.
The last one star last comes from Unknown. Oh wow. I had forgotten about this piece of shit. I wish I had stayed that way. Hey,
Who? Someone did this person watch this movie and come to review it like this, or this person just like was going through Rotten Tomatoes and it popped up? They go, I've got to say something.
you know, it you must really hate a movie so much that you have to go onto Rotten Tomatoes and leave a comment. Like you went out of your way to let people know that this movie was a piece of shit.
Yes.
Like, God, who hurt you?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well. Uh, the WTF for this comes from also unknown. It's 3.5 stars, and it is well. Don't lose your head of this, but it is funny. It all in the name.
It almost sounds like maybe he's like Creole.
If he's not, and I say it like this, will that sound cruel to you? Well, you knew lost your head, but it's funny. It's on the name.
It made more sense. It did. The accent helped.
Oh, so I guess we'll move on to what Rotten Tomatoes scored this and the audience scored this. So the people at Rotten Tomatoes scored this a 7%, while the audience, which is you, scored it 35%. I think that's kind of cold.
Who hurt you all? Like, did you all watch the same movie?
I don't know. I'm wondering like if the Rotten Tomato people are like millennials, no offense to millennials, or
Hey,
generation, I said no offense, or generation Zs that have a short attendance span that don't understand the joke that's being said 15 to 30 minutes after it was set up. Because that was
like,
happening a few times in this.
and to be fair with this, the it was very well written and like paced out kind of right, but like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'll get into it.
Okay, that's fine. Absolutely. Yeah. So, well, I guess we're gonna now figure out what Nate thinks and what I think. Well, I would not recommend this to my surgeon, mostly because I'm assuming my surgeon would be younger than this movie is old. And it's just it's a silly comedy. I think it's for a teenager. it has a good ABC, as you said, has good acting, has good script, has a good script. I thought the directing was fine. There's nothing really terrible about this movie. Nothing overly wonderful about this movie. Joe Pesci was great. The grandmother was wonderful. The little small humor in between the big jokes were landing. I don't think anything didn't land. It's a 90-minute sitcom. That's what it was. Start, beginning, end. And saying that, as much as I did like it, I am just going to give it two trees and a stump.
Now it's my turn.
That's fair. I will recommend this movie to my surgeon. I think a surgeon may appreciate the cutting of the heads from the bodies. They might check the craftsmanship and whatever. Special effects were great. That when the heads are talking, that they were probably real heads and they've cropped out. The fact that they got
Mm-hmm.
the sound really well for these outdoor shots. Paco was always in the right place at the wrong time, and
I love Paco.
um, you know, the cleaning ladies are funny as well. Uh, the only thing I really had an issue with was how they were expected to have these heads at San Diego by a certain time, and then the get to Mexico and back to Maryland. It was just like it was never gonna happen. But then they somehow managed to just shoehorn in. It's like, oh, Big Sep is gonna get his heads when he gets his heads, which apparently, if you're a mafia boss, I think that would probably be disrespectful. Um, with that being said, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm gonna give it three trees.
Well, you heard it here. Nate's going to give 8 heads in a duffel bag, 3 trees. I'm going to give it 2.5 trees. And the question is, what would you give it? Tell us what you think this movie was. Leave a comment like this other gentleman did to one of our older videos. Go ahead, Nate. What does this man say?
Uh, at JSN 1077, he made a comment about our when Popeye the Slayer Man. Just want to give you a shout out. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. And hey, you drop a comment, we'll shut your name out here too. Why not? This is a family business.
Yes. So feed the algorithm monsters, share, subscribe. What else? Notify. Make sure you get notified when we're on here, and obviously comment. And we will see you next week on Trees in Space.